The Katsukian Network presents Riffin on Jazz with your host, Howard Robertson and Malvin Massey.
Sonny Rollins.
You got to improve, man. You got Coltrane and Ornette Coleman and these boys coming up. You better get your stuff together.
Mr. Miles Davis.
White people are funny. In America, they thought that I just woke up one morning and had the blues and started playing the trumpet. But it don't go like that, and you can't explain that to them.
Miles was able to make something that was wrong into something that was right.
Now they know. I'm not an accident.
Welcome to Riffin on Jazz. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm Malvin Massey.
And Riffin on Jazz is your weekly visit with friends, talking about the music that we love.
It is a classic African-American art form called jazz.
Malvin Massey, welcome to television, my brother.
Yeah.
How's everything?
It's good, man. It's good.
You excited?
Yeah. This is a thrill to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
You know, because we're getting a chance to promote jazz in a whole new way.
Absolutely. You know, it occurred to me, man, back when we were growing up on Beale Street, there was always this old cat on the street corner or outside a club or something that knew everything about everybody. That's us.
The old guys.
Yes, the
It's
old
been
guys.
a long time, but I'm so glad to have been affiliated with jazz for so long.
Absolutely. And
This is
you know, people call us authentic, and I think that's because of what you just said. We've been around for a while, but also that we probably come from the most creatively and musically authentic place in the world. That's Memphis, Tennessee.
You got it right. I mean, that's what everybody says, no matter where you go in the world.
That's exactly right. This is where it all began.
I'm so glad that we got a chance to learn music. Well, I thought you were going to tell everybody about Corey Junior High School.
I am. I'm leading into that. We are authentically friends as well.
Right.
We've been friends since 7th grade.
Yeah.
All right. Where?
The first band at Corey Junior High School.
First one.
Yeah.
You were really pretty competitive, you know? We both thought we were God's gift to a saxophone.
Well, yeah. You know. That was the way it was supposed to be.
Yes.
I remember Mr. Thomas wouldn't let us put our mouthpiece in our mouths until after we stood up at the wall and held a piece of paper.
That's exactly right. And we never knew that we were part of one of the best jazz or best music programs for junior high or high school in America, and that was due to the next guy we're about to look at. We're about to start. We'll talk about it.
This is the cat who started the music program in Memphis City Schools back in the 20s. He was a history teacher, a coach, and the band director.
What was his name?
His name was the one and only Jimmy Lunsford.
Let's hear him.
Rhythm is our business, rhythm is what we sell. Rhythm is our business, business sure is swell. Now if you feel blue rhythm's what you need, if you got rhythm you sure succeed. Rhythm is our business, business sure is swell. He's a drummer man in the band. All beats on them drums in the band. Now when he does tricks with sticks, the boys in the band all play hot licks. Now he plays saxophone in the band. Joe blows on that sax in the band. Now when he runs up that scale, oh, zee-doot-doot-doot, laddie. Now he picks on that bass in the band. Mose picks on that bass in the band. Say when he picks all them strings, happiness to you he brings. Pick it, boy. Now he blows on that trumpet in the band. Paul blows on that trumpet in the band. Now he's that guy that hits them high, makes you think he's in the sky. Rhythm is our business.
1935.
Awesome, 1935. That's rare footage. People don't know about Jimmy Lunsford, let alone, having seen footage like that.
There was never a lot talked about Jimmy when they were talking about the Duke and Cab and all those cats. But like you were saying earlier, Jimmy kind of started the swing band thing, and that was his students and his faculty from Manassas High School.
Let's talk about that. He, as I understand, was the first public school band director in the city of Memphis, white or black. They didn't have band directors in public schools then. He was the very first one at Manassas High School. And so he took his students, he created a band, and they hit the road. They went to New York, and these were students.
Students and faculty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you saw the personality, you saw the style, you saw how good they looked.
The tuxes and the whole thing. And that was the Cotton Club.
That was the Cotton, okay.
Which was the biggest deal in jazz at the time back in '35.
Wow. And he started that with students?
Yeah, imagine that. So then you transpose all the way to back in the '50s when Miles was talking about how come George Coleman and Harold Mabel and all these guys
came from the
same school. What are they doing down there in Memphis, sending these guys up to New York that know so much?
So like I said, we didn't know that we were a part of a legacy even then. When we were learning to play, the programs were already in place in the schools.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people probably don't know about this show, or that we've been doing a podcast since 2017.
Right.
And
this is our first TV show, but not our first rodeo.
Yeah. And it was your idea, which I think was a great idea.
Thank you.
To come up with something to educate people about jazz, because the genre is going away, not really going away because we got so many people still doing it, but I mean, the genre is not as popular as it was when it was the popular culture.
And it's about how we learned, about the way we learned. Old guys would say, boy, you think you can play that horn, sit down. And sit us down in front of the hi-fi, throw us an album cover, and we'd read, listen, and that's how we learned, man.
Remember Mr. Thomas had to go to the office or something. We sitting in the Corey band room
and playing.
And he'd go in there and put on a jazz album and tell everybody to be still.
Right.
Listen.
And that's how we learned. I mean, we learned musicianship and technique and all of that in school. But one of the first things we learned to play was this next song coming up, and it's coming up by this phenomenal. I call it Art Blakey University.
Yeah.
And lately they call him our father.
Who?
Art Blakey. Check this out. This is Moaning. only and incredible Art Blakey. It is amazing. We're talking about school and learning, and Art Blakey was the finishing school for so many jazz musicians.
Oh, look, the jazz every year in January, it's Jazz at the Lincoln Center Congress,
Okay.
they call it. Wynton Marsalis puts it on, and all these great jazz contributors up in New York. They did a tribute to Art Blakey, and they invited alums from Art Blakey, jazz messengers, that are still alive and still gigging and all
You know
that.
how many they say at last count there were? 217.
Well, there was at least 45 of them on that stage at the Lincoln Center.
Okay, wow.
And one thing that was really interesting about it too was that 4 of the piano players who worked with Art Blakey, 4 of the musicians were Memphians. Harold Mabry, Donald Brown, James Williams,
And
Mulgrew Miller. And George Coleman worked with him some too.
Amazing.
But he wasn't in the messengers.
But among the other ones that were part of the messengers, John Coltrane, okay, Chuck Mangione, Freddie Hubbard, Sonny Rollins, Stanley Clark, and even Wynton Marsalis and Branford Marsalis.
Both of them were on the stage too.
Amazing.
But that shows just goes to show you what it is about jazz. That it's a family for one thing, but it's a learning process from start to finish.
Right.
You're still learning, even once you established yourself as a great artist and all. You're still learning about it.
This is indeed a cause for celebration, my brother, and as we always do, let's lift libations to life, love, and jazz. We appreciate everybody being with us here on Riffin, and this is so cool. This is so cool, and we're going to have fun as we always do and have been doing for the last few years. So
I hope that we can introduce people to artists that they didn't know about and some concepts about jazz that they didn't know about.
I hope so too, but this is not going to be one of them because they know about this sister. They know about this sister. We were always taught that superior tone and tonality was important as a musician, as an instrumentalist. But what if the vocal is your instrument? Think it's equally important?
Of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there wasn't a better vocal instrument than Sassy's. You might have to explain who Sassy is.
The inimitable Sarah Vaughan.
Sarah Vaughan. Check this out, doing the jazz classic.
From Dave Brubeck. No, Errol Garner.
Errol Garner. Misty.
Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. Feel like I'm clinging to a cloud I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play. Might be the sound of your hello, that music I hear. I get misty the moment you're near. You can see that you are leading me on, and it's just what I want you to do. Don't you know on my own. Would I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove? I'm too misty and too much in love. You can see that you're leading me on, and it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's who I follow with you.
All you do is shake your head.
I know, I can't help it, man. You know, years ago, I actually got a chance to hear Sarah at the Hilton here in Memphis.
Is that right?
With Mercer Ellington directing his daddy's band. And we sat there and watched Sarah Vaughan do that.
Oh man, nobody sounds like that. Who is that silky and that smooth and that confident? I mean, that is.
You know, and it's so, I think that's something else about jazz that I like so much is that those performers, those singers, Sarah hit every note, said every word.
Absolutely.
You know, and it was.
Diction was incredible, impeccable.
And she was not reaching for a note or just
no strain at all.
Vibrato that wasn't necessary.
No strain at all.
She was interpreting that.
Our mothers loved Sarah Vaughan. There were certain singers that they loved, certain female singers that they loved, and she was at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Definitely at the top of the list. And speaking of female singers, we invite you to take a deep dive into jazz singers on a number of our Riffin on Jazz podcasts that are available on Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, TuneIn, the Kazukian app, or your favorite podcast provider.
Kazukian.
Yes.
K-U-D-Z-U-K-I-A-N.
You better spell it for people. They don't know.
Well, it's like kudzu. It's a weed, you know.
It's a weed. Here is something that we've been waiting on for a while. We're going to segue into our man who we both wanted to be like.
Our theme song
Yes.
for all these years.
Yes.
Well, we started
Yes.
this in 2017, right?
Yeah.
Doing the podcast.
Yes. And we're talking about Julian Cannonball Adderley, who was alto sax player supreme, played our instrument, and you know,
band instructor.
all of that. Went to FAMU, I believe. That he graduated from. So
and went back to teaching there.
Okay.
Which was really cool too.
And performed with his younger brother Nat Adderley on trumpet and cornet.
And you know, you talk about foundation guys. Cannonball was discovered by Quincy Jones, of all things.
Wow.
But he also discovered Joe Zawinul, who became a legendary guy.
So let's get right into it. We're talking about the work song. Cannonball Adderley.
That is my name.
Now I'm gonna tell you something. I loved Cannonball Adderley because he was so soulful and you know his tone. I had two favorites, and we're gonna talk about the other one later. But Cannonball was one of mine. But you know, I bet I know why you like Cannonball so much. Because back in the day, y'all were both about the same size.
You got that right. And I could get that sound out.
Ladies
I couldn't
and
get that
gentlemen,
technique out.
my man Malvin Massey back in the day was a little chunky.
Yes.
Little chunky. So,
but, you know, and I was thinking about it too, Howard, you know, and somebody out there saying like, okay, so what makes them think they know what they're talking about? Why should I listen to these cats talking
besides
about
the fact
jazz?
that they're old, right?
Yeah. But not only did we start learning how to play instruments and stuff from a jazz professor and performer, because all of them, Mr. Abel and Mr. Thomas, they all played in the clubs around town.
Absolutely.
But not only that, but we played in jazz bands.
Right. We played in bands since we were like 12 years old.
Yeah. And then you've been playing the piano as long as you've been playing saxophone.
I'm a prayer, not a player. I just pray that the Lord puts my hands in the right place.
You played in church, though. You got a history of that. Because all your folks play piano in church.
My grandfather played in church. I never played in church. I was with you. I was in the clubs. I was in the streets playing. So I just started playing in church. But yeah, and you have run and managed one of the most successful jazz stations in America for how many years?
About 30 years.
Absolutely. So I think that a professional and an authority makes. How about you?
I think so too.
Yeah.
So we know who we're talking about. We're talking about Cannon and all the great music and all the great musicians that came through. He discovered Nancy Wilson.
Yes. And we're going to talk more about Nancy Wilson and that relationship. But we're going to go out. We're going to go out with perhaps the biggest selling, and some say the greatest jazz album of all times.
Oh, yeah.
It featured Miles Davis. It featured Cannonball Adderley, speaking of him, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, and others.
Philly Joe Jones, I believe, was on there. Yeah.
So many others, but we're not going to tell them what the name of this song is. We're going to give them a musical hint. But the name of the album was Kind of Blue.
And that we did in one of the other shows. When we did the deep dive on Miles.
You guys check out our podcast. Go to Riffin.
Kazuki.com.
Go to Kazuki, and it's we're on iHeart, all of them, Spotify, all of them. But Malvin, as we always say, man, if we were cheese, they might call us aged.
And if we were wine, they might call us vintage. And if we were cars, they might call us classics.
But that doesn't matter, because we call ourselves blessed and highly favored to be here with our friends and together here on Riffin on Jazz. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm Malvin Massey.
And we ask that you be back with us. We hope that we get to be back here so that you can be back with us.
On this new technology called television.
That's right. Yeah. For more Riffin on Jazz, y'all take care of yourselves. Now, here's that hint. A few chords, okay?
All right.
Here we go.
Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum.
You play good voice bass.